Imagine what you would like to see happen, and then don't do anything to make it impossible. Turn off your phone at least twice a week. Keep your windows clean. Extirpate all traces of personal ambitiousness. Don't use the word extirpate too often. Forgive your country every once in a while. If that is not possible, go to another one. If you feel tired, rest. Grow something. Do not wander through train stations muttering, "We're all going to die." Count among your true friends people of various stations of life. Appreciate simple pleasures, such as the pleasure of chewing, the pleasure of warm water running down your back, the pleasure of a cool breeze, the pleasure of falling asleep. Do not exclaim, "Isn't technology wonderful?" Learn how to stretch your muscles. Stretch them every day. Don't be depressed about growing older. It will make you feel even older, which is depressing. Do one thing at a time. If you burn your finger, put it in cold water immediately. If you bang your finger with a hammer, hold your hand in the air for 20 minutes. You'll be surprised by the curative powers of coldness and gravity. Learn how to whistle at ear-splitting volume. Be calm in a crisis. The more critical the situation, the calmer you should be. Enjoy sex, but don't become obsessed with it, except for brief periods in your adolescence, youth, middle age, and old age. Contemplate everything's opposite. If you're struck with the fear that you've swum out too far in the ocean, turn around and go back to the lifeboat. Keep your childish self alive. Answer letters promptly. Use attractive stamps, like the one with a tornado on it. Cry every once in a while, but only when alone. Then appreciate how much better you feel. Don't be embarrassed about feeling better. Do not inhale smoke. Take a deep breath. Do not smart off to a policeman. Do not step off the curb until you can walk all the way across the street. From the curb, you can study the pedestrians who are trapped in the middle of the crazed and roaring traffic. Be good. Walk down different streets, backwards. Remember beauty which exists and truth which does not. Notice that the idea of truth is just as powerful as the idea of beauty. Stay out of jail. In later life, become a mystic. Use Colgate toothpaste in the new tartar control formula. Visit friends and acquaintances in the hospital. When you feel it is time to leave, do so. Be honest with yourself, diplomatic with others. Do not go crazy a lot. It's a waste of time. Read and reread great books. Dig a hole with a shovel. In winter, before you go to bed, humidify your bedroom. Know that the only perfect things are a 300 game in bowling and a 27 batter, 27 out game in baseball. Drink plenty of water. When asked what you would like to drink, say, "Water, please." Ask, ask, "Where is the loo?" but not, "Where can I urinate?" Be kind to physical objects. Beginning at age 40, get a complete physical every few years from a doctor you trust and feel comfortable with. Don't read a newspaper more than once a year. Learn how to say hello, thank you, and chopsticks in Mandarin. Belch and fart, but quietly. Be especially cordial to foreigners. Go see shadow puppet plays and imagine that you are one of the characters, or all of them. Take out the trash. Love life. Use exact change. When there's shooting in the street, don't go near the window. Thinking about the moon. As a child, I thought the moon existed only at night. There it was, in the dark sky. When I saw it in daytime, I knew it was the moon, but it wasn't the real one. It was that other one. The real moon had moonlight, silver and blue, and the full moon was so big it seemed close. But to what? I didn't know I was on Earth. I've never been able to find someone who could tell me that they remember the moment when they realized they were on Earth. It's a very weird thing. I mean, being on Earth is weird, certainly, but not being able to remember first realizing it seems odd to me. I can't remember. Dead or alive in Belgium. Somebody you think is dead is alive, and somebody you think is alive is dead. Sometimes it comes as a happy surprise, and sometimes you wonder. She was given a few days, hours perhaps. Now she looks stronger and even prettier. His chances of surviving were so-so. Now he's going to Belgium, which takes strength. Just the thought. Oh, why do I say such things? Because there's a Frenchman inside me who jumps out every once in a while. Bonjour, voilà, un bon café, bien chaud. Then he forgets to jump out, or I jump out in front of him. I'm much bigger than he is. He does not want to go to Belgium, or even say anything nice about Belgium. I don't want to go to Belgium, though I would like to go to Bruges, Ghent, Antwerp, and Brussels, and go inside the paintings there and stand next to the Virgin, her forehead so large and pure, and be there, alive with her again, oil on board in Belgium. Standoff with Frosty. Every time I sit down to do some serious work, my stomach tells me it's time to go downstairs and see what's in the fridge. But when I reach in there, an icy hand grabs my wrist and thrusts me away from the territory of the snowman. Yes, Frosty himself. He lives in there with a banjo and a carrot. He plays the banjo and thinks about the carrot. But it is a dull existence, and he is disgruntled. How can I make him happy? There is no way, for he can neither hear nor understand my words. I cannot reason with him, describe the Arctic nights that gave him life, nor lure his melancholy world away from him. He is stuck, and so am I. I want to read you just one little section of a poem that's composed of fragments that I found in books that I read over the years. I just want to read this one little tiny fragment, and it's from the Taoist philosopher Chuang-Tzu. Using an attribute to illustrate the point that attributes are not attributes in and of themselves is not so good as using a non-attribute to illustrate the point. Using a horse to illustrate the point that a white horse is not a horse as such is not so good as using non-horses to illustrate the point. Actually, the universe is but an attribute. all things are but a horse. I just, oh man. That guy is the greatest. It's called Bastille Day. I'm sure you know this, but the Bastille in Paris was torn down during the French Revolution, and it was replaced with a column, a big obelisk type thing. It's called Bastille Day. The first time I saw Paris, I went to see where the Bastille had been, and though I saw the column there, I was too aware that the Bastille was not there. I did not know how to see the emptiness. People go to see the missing Twin Towers and seem to like feeling the lack of something. I do not like knowing that my mother no longer exists, or the feeling of knowing. Oh, excuse me for comparing my mother to large buildings. Also for talking about absence. The red and gray sky above the rooftops is darkening, and the inhabitants are hastening home for dinner. I hope to see you later. Yeah, I'm going to read this one. Urn Burial. Urn Burial. Sir Thomas Browne said that it is useless to erect monuments in the hope of being remembered by generations far into the future, since the future itself will cease to exist. That is, the world would be destroyed soon. Hence, he said, 'tis too late to be ambitious. Apparently this belief was widely held by English people in the 17th century. My grandmother in the 20th century took a curious pleasure in pursing her lips and stating, "The Bible says the world will last 1,000 years, but not 2, which meant that I could not live past the age of 58 and might be therefore the end of the world. Fortunately, I did not believe her, and unfortunately, it made me think she was a little bit crazy and certainly thoughtless in saying such a thing to her young grandson. The Bible also says that Methuselah lived to the age of 969. They should have chosen a more credible number. For, as Joe Brainerd asked, if a 100-year-old man can barely stand up, can you imagine what it would be like to be 500? I can barely imagine what it's like to be any age, though I can imagine what it's like to be dead because I've woken up after a deep sleep with no memory of it. So you don't have to imagine anything to know what being dead is like. One less thing to worry about. Unless, of course, I'm wrong about the afterlife and fiery demons prod you with red-hot tridents into the writhing maw of an inferno of glistening snakes. Fortunately, this happens only to Christians. Fortunately for me, that is. Sir Thomas Browne was a Christian, but I hope he believed he'd go to paradise, for it seems too bad that such a wise and learned man should think that he would go to hell. Browne lived to 77, to the day. I'm not sure the exactitude means anything here, but for his time, he was quite old, and possibly surprised to wake up and find himself only 892 years younger than Methuselah, or wake up and find himself at all in bed and still on earth. Then he died. I didn't plan on living this long, said my other grandmother at 96, but I just keep on breathing. Material world. Letting it stream in the light and air and wanting it to and having it in the room next to you, as if a person made of light and air could materialize here. I and everyone else have materialized. Karl Marx based his ideas on materialism. And if you look at his face and beard, you cannot see a single ray of light, and you cannot imagine that he breathed air. Karl Marx. R. The pine tree, the fir, the larch high in the cool morning. It's hard to say how far more important trees are than Karl Marx. At the age of 3, Marx did not say, "I wish I were a tree." And of course, the tree is always saying, "No comment," even though you are dancing with that tree, while overhead a small Greek deity is circling on a glissando we call wings, on the verge of materialization. And here we are. I just realized I've gone into that timeless zone where I forgot to look at my watch before I started to read. So I know that more than 10 minutes have passed and fewer than 500 minutes, but somewhere in there. I'll try not to go on too much longer. This next poem mentions a street in Amsterdam called Herengracht. Spots. And so once again, Father Time said to Mother Nature, "Mother, put a few more of those brown spots on him, please." And so she did. Dutifully and without malice, she placed them here and there among the others she had left before as gentle reminders. Though if you've ever looked in the mirror and noticed several that weren't there the night before, I lose my train of thought. It was on Herengracht. The cobblestones were irregular for pedestrian feet such as mine, so I kept looking down when I most wanted to look straight ahead and around. "The earth is a cobblestone," said Father Time to Mother Nature. But she made no reply, for she did not like fancy allusions to her cousin, Mother Earth. The kitchen became edgy for a moment, and then it passed, the edginess, that is, along with the moment. Both were moved along to the area of past experiences, and from there shunted into the forgotten. But I remembered it was my birthday, and my mother is large with me, and her mind is full of ironing, like music you can't stop hearing in your head, the music of ironing. And so, me. First a spot, then a boy with a dog named Spot, and now a man on whom more spots are arriving in the night, when Mother Nature makes her rounds and Father Time keeps the watch. Just a couple of more. It's called It Turns Out. It turns out. It turns out I haven't turned out to be the person I hoped I would, but that's just too damn bad. Yeah, I'm going to read one more. It's the last one. And this is based on, people used to say, a true-to-life experience about my first day of going to kindergarten. It's called Children's Story. Ronnie did not want to take a nap. Why take a nap? He wasn't sleepy. It's the middle of the day. The teacher said it was time to take a nap. Look at the other boys and girls. They're lying down to take their naps. That's fine for them, thought Ronnie. And he said, I ain't going to take no goddamn nap. the teacher looked funny. He thought she was like a babysitter, but she was different. With the palm of her hand, she gave him a little whack on his behind. "Now don't you talk like that," she said. "You behave and take your nap." Ronnie began to cry as he got down on the pallet where little cowboys and Indians were playing. He laid his head on the pallet and cried. Then, after a while, he stopped crying because he had fallen asleep. Later, he and the other children woke up. They rolled up their pallets and started to play a game with the teacher. Then it was time for his mother to come with the other mothers. And there she was. The teacher told her that Ronnie had said, "God damn." "He did?" said his mother. "Well, you can't say that at school," she told him. And they went home together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I don't know if I'm supposed to stay up here or go sit down.
No, you can stay up there.
Oh, good. Oh, good. It makes it easier. Did now something else happens, right?
If anyone has a question, please address young Ronnie.
Yeah, God damn it, give me the question. Well, I thought it was kind of funny to start. It was really a total coincidence, too. Is I started the reading with Bob's poem that has the word "God damn" in it, and then I ended up with my own that's the same word, you know. But I was emboldened by Nicole's reading. I thought, if she can say that, I can say anything. Gosh. Yes.
Where was the found poem found?
Oh, he asked where's the found poem, the one from Chongsa?
Yeah.
It was in a book of readings, an anthology of readings called, I think it was called Sources of Chinese Tradition. It's still in print, too. It's published by the Columbia University Press, and it was used as a textbook, a reader, in their Asian